Welcome back to the Now Morning Show. Now, this morning we're checking in with Tobagonian businessmen and women as the MV Cabo Star is now back in operation. And so joining us this morning, we have Chairman of the Tobago Division of the TT Chamber of Industry and Commerce, Mr. Curtis Williams, to give us an update on the situation in Tobago. Mr. Williams, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on Now.
And good morning, Kimberly, and all our viewers and online and in live on set.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course. Now, Mr. Williams, I know it's good news. The MV Cabo Star is back. It's only been about 2 or 3 days. Tell us how the island has been coping with the returning of the vessel.
Well, we are definitely welcome the return of the Cabo Star, and we want to thank the owners and the Port Authority for all the support they give us in the downtime. It
Yeah.
haven't been an easy time. It has been a bit rough, but we made it through. The vessel came up yesterday, day before yesterday, for the first time with a 93% capacity.
Okay.
And last night it came in with a 95% capacity.
Mm.
So we are definitely getting a heavy intake coming up. And we just want to continue supporting this. We know the vessel will continue sailing for the balance of the weekend, and so that we can bring our stock levels back to some level of normal.
Yeah. Now, Mr. Williams, when we checked in with the Tobago Chamber on Monday, I know that there was not much of a concern for food stuff, but I know some of the items that may have been missing were items from the construction sector. How have the businessmen been faring with the removal of the Cabo Star from the sea bridge?
Well, the construction sector definitely felt the brunt of it all. They were literally, some of them were, the shelves were empty and their warehouses were very low in some instances. Now they're trying to build back capacity as we move along. And this had a ripple effect because there were construction projects going on, and some of these projects were brought to a standstill. Now, as things getting back to some sort of normal, we would see projects start to realize and get back to where they ought to be, especially like the airport project.
Yeah. Can we also speak to some of the solutions as well? Do you think that we need to get a replacement vessel on standby whenever the MV Cabo Star goes down, whether it be for repair or those service that needs to be done every now and then?
Well, that's a great question because we asked the Minister of Works and Transport for a meeting, and he did give us the assurance that we're going to meet tomorrow at 2 p.m. So, and he's definitely going to bring across his technical team and bring the chairman of NITCO, also the chairman of the port, and all their technical team will be in Tobago on 2 p.m. tomorrow. And we, the Tobago division, as well as other stakeholders, we had invited other associations and chambers to join us in that meeting to have fruitful dialogue moving forward so that we could plan for events of this nature and how we can put things the logistic wise in place to deal with it.
Of course. Can we also speak to the capacity as well? I know that Senator Hislop was asking about the capacity of Tobagonians to almost hoard items so that if they're ever in a situation like this again, it wouldn't be as bad as we saw over the past few weeks. Do you think businesses need to ramp up on their capacity to have items just in case something like this happens again?
Well, when I heard that story, my mind wandered. Now, increasing your capacity meant that you would have to increase your inventory, and it also meant that you would have to have funding for such. So it's a 1 and 2 ratio going forward. Increasing capacity, yes, it sounds good. But again, if you don't have the capital to do such, then you're definitely left stranded. What we can do is that we can look at our business continuity plan. So we're asking our members to look at their business continuity plan and see where you can tweak, where you can do some tweaking in that business continuity plan. So in case there's a fallout, don't have to be in terms of a fire, it could be just natural disaster, etc., where you will be able to put the different things together. So we will look at your capacity and be able to measure it accordingly. But it's not just a broad brush by saying let's go increase your warehouse, because it will be cost. And as we now coming out of the pandemic, funding is a bit limited for most of us. So increasing the capacity could be very, very carefully noted.
Yeah. Now, earlier, Mr. Williams, we spoke to some reps from TADCO, and they were saying they actually found opportunity with the removal of the MV Cabo Star from the sea bridge only because the farmers and the local producers were able to get that sort of intro into some of the markets and some of the supermarkets. Did you see that opportunity for local businesses or local farmers when the MV Cabo Star was down?
Yes, it was banter about, and the issue came about that even if we are trying to ramp up our local produce here, where there's some raw material that is definitely needed, and these raw material we have to source them from Trinidad. So as well as we may be able to ramp up our local capacity, the raw material needed, such as the feed for the chicks and for the farms, these all come from Trinidad. So it still have that entity that we've definitely had to rely on and bringing that
Yes.
item across to Tobago. Yeah.
Okay, and then looking at that point that you raised in terms of still depending on Trinidad for the feed, etc., how can Tobago get more self-reliant so that it remains sustainable?
Well, it had to be something in a holistic. It cannot be one part and another part. So we had to look at the holistic picture and look at the various ways in which the THA can allow the farmers land and access so that they can do proper commercial farming and not just a kitchen garden type farming.
Yeah.
In the sense that items you need to produce in a vast amount so that you'll be able to supply the local market and even export as you may have excess.
Yeah. In terms of the effect, Mr. Williams, I was also hearing talk of a little bit of price gouging going on, especially as it relates to the construction sector. Was that in fact happening on the island?
It did happen in terms of the price of cement, but as things get back to normal, I expect the prices to go back down. Yes, the fallout have been significant for them. The revenue, definitely, the projections were all down, but the expenses stays nearly the same. So, your bank commitments and so forth, they remains the same. So we are looking at how best we can kind of ease it. It will take us a while to come back. We're talking about probably 6 to 8 weeks to bring your level up to where it ought to be. And also for your financing, it will take a while for your numbers to get back to where it ought to be. But there definitely we had a fallout in revenue,
Yeah.
definitely.
Now, two of the major sectors we know were affected would have been the food sector and, well, to a lower scale, but also the construction sector. Were there any other sectors in Tobago that were hard hit with the removal of the MV Cabo Star from the sea bridge?
Well, the other sectors were more ripple effect. When the construction sector, when the hardware couldn't get the materials, the construction went on a standstill, and some of the projects definitely was to lay off some of the workers, and that had a ripple effect. The monies that these workers would have earned during that period have gone, and then the families don't have sufficient fund to carry them through. So thank God it just was only 3 weeks plus, and we're here now, getting back to some sense of normal, and we hope that we could really put something in place, really tangible, that could assist us as a chamber going forward.
Yeah. And on that same vein, Mr. Williams, as we close, any words of advice you want to give to the business community in Tobago on how they can be able to sustain themselves if a situation like this ever happens again?
Well, as I mentioned early on, we got to look at your business continuity plan and all the disaster recovery. Some cope it together, but it's something that you have to put together. If you need some assistance in that process, we at the chamber, we are open to assist you in that process and getting that business continuity plan in place. Take it down. Let's tweak it a bit. Let's see what our capacity will be like, and definitely we ramp it up as we can, and prepare for anything, any disaster or any fallout of this nature.
And Mr. Williams, finally, if anyone needs to contact the chamber, any numbers or website?
Sure, you definitely can contact us at 639-2669, 639-2669, and we're about to launch one of our most exciting plans, which is Tobago Business Bureau, which will assist business in all the aspects of business in terms of the registering for the OPR, business registration, and even the finances. So we are open and we are welcome all business on island to come and contact us, and we will definitely work with you.
Mr. Williams, pleasure having you join us this morning. Thank you so much for the tips and have a good day.
Thank you, and you guys have a good one.
You too, Mr. Williams. And that was Mr. Curtis Williams, chairman of the Tobago Vision at the TT Chamber of Industry and Commerce, just taking us back to how Tobago fared with the removal of the Cabo Star and now what the future holds. You're on the Now Morning Show. We're going to take a break and be right back. Stay with us.